Here's the deal. When I got arrested that day, July 30th, 2008, and it was not a small arrest. This is a big takedown with multiple agencies involved and cars everywhere on the street. Excuse me. But, you know, they zip-tied me, threw me in the back of a police car, took me down to Dallas County Jail and, you know, processed me, fingerprinted me, booked me, mugshot, threw me in a holding cell. And man, the only thought I had going through my head that night in that holding cell, Dave, was how the hell am I going to get high from in here? You know, with the first month that I was in county jail, I was looking for ways to get dope into county jail, asking other guys, hey, is it possible? You know, can we do this? Can we? And there was actually one guy, this big Hispanic guy, that was telling me, hey, there's a way to get this done, but it never came to fruition. But I was not ready to let go. And if I can just get probation, 10 years probation, which is what they can give me because I've never had a felony, I will go out and I will get a job and I'll be a normal person and I'll just smoke meth on the weekends. That's all I need. I'll just smoke meth on the weekends. I'm making these deals. It's like hugging the toilet, making the deals when you come home drunk. But I'm making this deal with, I'm just, God, if you can just get me probation, because I just smoke meth on the weekends, I got it under control now. I'm clean, I'm sober. But when I got sentenced to 65 years, that was it. The jury threw me away. They threw me away. They said, you are not fit for society anymore. You're a threat to society. And we have a place for you. It's prison for the rest of your life. And that was when it really hit me that, wow, this is something I have to work on. Whether or not I get out anytime soon, it's something I've got to get a handle on, and now. And that was the impetus for the whole thing. Yeah, so I'm in prison, and I don't know when I'm getting out. I don't think it's any time before 10 years. But I prepare myself while I'm in there that it's going to be tomorrow. And that's the plan. The plan is that, look, Damon, you've got to make a change emotionally, physically, and spiritually. Those three things you have to work on every single day. And did I work on them every single day perfectly? No, Dave, I didn't. It's tough, man. It's a tough environment. There's some days, you know, I joked around with some guys and said, some days you're the pigeon, some days you're the statue, you know? And that's just the way it is in life, and that's the way it really was in prison. I mean, it's the most hopeless environment there is, and it's the hardest environment to mount a comeback story in your life. So July, I think it was 26, 2011, I went to my first meeting because something was missing. You know, I'm going to church again. I'm in the Bible. I'm hanging out with the right people. I'm doing everything, but something is missing spiritually in me, Dave. I just don't feel like I have all the tools I need. And I end up at that AA meeting in July 2011. And man, look, there's 80% of people I know, 80% of people incarcerated I know have addiction issues, substance abuse issues. There's 3,000 people in the unit. I think this first AA meeting I go to that everybody talks about, I think it's going to be on the rec yard or something. It's got to be huge, right? If 80% of 3,000 is going to be there, there's 50 people there. It's a voluntary deal. You don't have to go. You can stay in your bunk and sleep. It's like in life, man. If you want your recovery, you'll go out and get it. You'll go, as they say, to any lengths to get it. But not that many people were doing that inside of prison. When I interviewed with Parole, this was in March 2015. I interviewed with them for the first time I ever see Parole, and you come in there, you have what's called a Parole Packet. This Parole Packet is letters from people in the community. This is certificates of things you've accomplished while you've been in there. And they want to see that you're working towards your goal of release one day. And you want to pack that with as much stuff as possible, and I did. I never stayed busy. I never stayed still while I was in prison. I'm ADHD, right? So I'm moving around, doing stuff all the time. I'm taking whatever classes I can get involved in and get certificates for it. But the most important thing in my parole packet was stuff, my sign-in sheets for AA. And she blazed right through them. Didn't even give them much notice. And I explained to the lady. I said, listen, you know, I've been an addict in your prison for, you know, over 6 years now. The whole time I've been here, you've done a really good job of punishing me, but you've done nothing to treat my substance abuse issues. Whenever you decide to let me go, and I have no idea when that'll be, but whenever you decide to let me go, I want to go to the parole program y'all have for drug abuse, and it's where they send you to a 6-month program. It's another prison. They send you there for 6 months, and then you have 18 months once you get out of aftercare. You go to classes. You go to treatment classes. And she's like, you really want that kind of help? I was like, I really want that kind of help. And she said, not a lot of people can complete that class. They come back to prison. I said, give me a shot whenever you're ready. And they did. The 2 weeks. But what I can share with these guys, these kids, is these 4 spiritual principles that I learned in recovery. And that's to run any decision by is it unselfish? Is it honest? Is it pure? Is it loving? And these are the foundations of all religions throughout the history of the world. unselfish, honest, pure, and loving. And the Serenity Prayer. Because that Serenity Prayer and it was a diagram that my sponsor put on the board one day with a piece of chalk on the chalkboard. He said, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. He drew a big line across the chalkboard. And he kept on going to the end of the chalkboard, and he kept on going like he still had another chalkboard, but it was just space. He said, that list is so big you can't even fit it on the board. So God grant me the serenity to accept things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can. And he went and erased a little area right there on that line with his two little fingers about an inch apart. He said, that's the space of the things you can change. He said, that's it. You can't affect change on most things. That's all you got to be able to affect change on. He said, but the last part is the wisdom to know the difference. He said, as addicts, we get so hung up between that and not knowing the difference between that and that. He said, that's where we fall back into addiction. And it was an interesting diagram because it really broke it down for me. You know, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Man, that list is huge. The courage to change the things I can, we're talking about something small. But Dave, just being able to tell the difference, and that's where the recovery comes in. That's where you have the steps. And when you can't figure it out yourself, you've got a phone full of people in recovery with you. You pick it up, you call them.
Make it work.
And I've done it. I've called people, man. I use my tools to this day. I'm not going back.